Welcome back to the TWSN YouTube channel. Today we have another full round one NFL mock draft. The draft is quickly approaching. Today I'm joined by everybody's favorite person in the world, Aidan. How are you doing today, brother?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. It's NFL draft week. The content's only ramping up. I'm very excited to join you for another mock draft, Logan. We've done a couple at this point now.
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of, if you don't, a lot of our live shows will be doing some mock drafts this week. So make sure you turn on the Twitter, the YouTube channel as well. Just more mock drafts. I mean, it's right around the corner. Who doesn't want it at this point in time? It's just, kind of what everybody's doing. That's what I'm going to be doing until the draft anyway. So we're just going to be alternating picks here, giving you a little bit of a different vibe from a little bit of a mock draft. And, Aidan, as a guest, I'll go ahead and give you the first pick. What are we thinking for Jacksonville here?
This is down to Aidan Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. In my opinion, the right pick here would be to go Kayvon Thibodeau, or even if you want to just build an offensive line around Trevor Lawrence, you go Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal. I think those are the top three prospects in this year's class, but that's not how the Jaguars view it. I'll go with Trayvon Walker here because I just think Aidan Hutchinson, I don't want to spoil your pick, but Aidan Hutchinson just makes too much sense to the Detroit Lions. But yeah, it's down to Walker or Hutchinson for that first overall pick.
Yeah, I think just kind of the way the GM kind of talked about Trayvon Walker and was so quick to defend him this week in his press conferences. And, you don't want to give it away and just calling Aidan Hutchinson, a good player. You can get a bunch of good players in the draft, he said. So I think, I don't know, just kind of looking like Trayvon Walker. Maybe it's a ploy, but then again, they have nothing to lie about. They have the first pick. They can pick whoever they want. So I think Trayvon Walker's trending in that direction for sure. And like you said, just kind of makes my job easy here at 2. Aidan Hutchinson to the Lions seems like a pretty... he's not going to go any lower than this, I don't think. So Aidan Hutchinson just feels like a dream fit there in Detroit.
So for me at 3, I'm actually going to go with Evan Neal here for the Houston Texans. Obviously, Nick Caserio from the Bill Belichick tree. They have an awesome connection with Alabama. They like to go for those big school guys. In my opinion, Evan Neal slightly edges out Ike Ekwonu for the number 1 offensive tackle. So if that's the route you want to go, I like that pick for Houston.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for more of a true 100% tackle, I can't fault you for that. So I think it makes a lot of sense. For the Jets, first of 2 picks, 4 and 10. I think if this is where the board falls, it wouldn't surprise me if they go offensive line. But I really think they're going to take Kayvon Thibodeau at 4. It's just, it's just kind of the vibe they get. Robert Saleh, the coach. I know they have a strong defensive line already, but he's a game changer in my opinion. So I just don't think Robert Saleh, with his defense he runs, he'll be able to pass on a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau all the way down there at 4, which seems crazy. He's still the best player in the draft in my opinion, but at 4, I'd be extremely happy if I was the Jets.
Okay, so here for the Giants at 5, I'm going to go with Charles Cross.
It's been picking up a lot of steam lately.
He has been picking up a lot of steam. I've seen him mock to the Giants all the time, which makes me think maybe it won't actually happen. But they definitely need a pass protector. They didn't address offensive line at all in last year's draft, which I thought was a huge mistake. But here they do it at 5 and get an elite pass protector.
Yeah, it's just kind of... I don't know. It's been kind of a growing theme lately. It'd be interesting to see if they did choose him over another tackle. And like in this case, where they took him over Ekwonu. Who knows if that'll be the case? But the Giants clearly do like Charles Cross for whatever it's worth. Maybe it's 5. I think if they want him, they'll take him at 5 because there's a good chance Carolina will take him at 6. And because they didn't, Ekwonu staying in the state, I think there's a good chance they'll trade down out of the spot. I think Carolina wants to draft Kenny Pickett, but they don't want to do it at 6. So I think they would probably look to move down. But in my opinion, I think staying pat and drafting Ike Ekwonu at 6 is way better than drafting Kenny Pickett anywhere in the draft. So that's what I would do there. That's kind of the vibe I'd get if they stay pat at 6 there.
Yep, I completely agree. I think you're getting best player available, fills the need. 7 for the Giants and back on the clock for the New York. Everybody's favorite, Together Blue, everybody's favorite team. I've seen a lot of Sauce Gardner mocked to the Giants. I could see it because I know James Bradbury, who knows what his future is there. They could use help really all over that defense. They need more pass rushing. I love Azeez Ojulari, but I don't really see an edge. I mean, maybe Jermaine Johnson. I'm going to go with Kyle Hamilton, though, here. I know people think he might slide all the way to 11 for the Washington football team, but add another safety to that secondary, an extremely versatile chess piece, could potentially be a generational talent at the safety position if used correctly.
That's a fun one. Kyle Hamilton's. I'm really going to be interested to see where he goes on draft night. Him and Tyler Linderbaum are kind of the two guys that are great players, but their positional value is so low. But they're great talent, so like it's gonna be interesting. Those are definitely the two people I'm interested to see where they're gonna land. Wide array of outcomes for them. I think seven's probably the highest I could see him go. Maybe. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me, I guess, if he went higher, but there at 7 makes a lot of sense there to New York. Atlanta's in a weird spot now. I don't really like corners. Not the biggest need in the world for them. It's just not. They have AJ Terrell. They have some other guys in general. They signed a couple of vets to kind of fill that void for now. I think I like Jermaine Johnson there. They need some edge help. It's so bad. Their roster is not good at all whatsoever. Gives you a really high floor player there with Jermaine Johnson, and a really good run defender with some pass rushing upside. They just need talent. He's a premier position. I think that's just what it comes down to.
So Sauce Gardner is very enticing here because they need help at the cornerback position. But at some point, a quarterback's got to go off the board. I actually, as we kind of play this out, there's definitely multiple scenarios where there's not a quarterback taken in the top 10. Mm-hmm. But I think Malik Willis might be the guy for the Seahawks at 9. Again, they could wait till the second round. They might not like any of these guys at all. But all of them falling, maybe they really like Willis's tools.
Yeah, I think quarterbacks will go in the top 10. I think Malik Willis will definitely. I just don't know if it'll be a trade or one of these teams staying pat and taking them. I think he's a real possibility for Detroit at 2. It's just going to be interesting because who knows? Like Seattle's roster is terrible. Atlanta's roster is terrible. So like, how good is a QB really going to do for them? I think if they stay pat at 9 and Malik Willis is there, it makes sense to take him for sure. But I have a feeling somebody's probably going to try to move up. Probably ahead of Seattle if this is the case. Like if Atlanta's sitting there at 8 and they don't want Malik Willis, I think he'll probably be dealt. So he doesn't get to Seattle. We know the Steelers love Malik Willis, but maybe they don't want to move that high. That's a long way to move up for some of these teams. But that's just how the board fell here. Definitely can't complain about it. Definitely seems like a real possibility. The Jets here at 10. I'm going to be pretty happy if Sauce Gardner is still here at 10. I don't think there's much to talk about. I think he's, probably a top 6 player in the class. New York lucks out with him here at 10. Ain't much to it.
So Washington at 11. I've seen a wide receiver mocked here a lot. Very well could happen. A wide receiver's got to go at some point. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Garrett Wilson at 8 or something like that. Yeah. But in this scenario, give me Derek Stingley to the Washington football team. That secondary regressed last year. That overall defense regressed. I see them taking an upside swing on Stingley there at 11. Still really impressed with the freshman tape. And maybe they feel like in a loaded defense, their ceiling on defense, I should say, at least is very high. Maybe they can get the best out of Stingley.
Oh, this Vikings pick is pretty interesting to me. I think the receivers are probably. I think there's a very good chance the Jets take one at 10, but I don't think they'd pass on Sauce Gardner for one. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I've tweeted it a few times, man. I think Minnesota, if this is the way the board falls, might take a receiver here. Yeah. I just don't know which one. I don't know who they would value more. I could see arguments. I don't really see them Garrett Wilson because he's not similar to Justin Jefferson, but they're kind of, sort of, like they can kind of do a little bit of everything. To whereas Drake London, he's your big body guy. Jameson Williams is your speedster. Like they don't have those traits on the team. Let's go ahead and give him Drake London. I think he can kind of take over an Adam Thielen role-esque to dominate in the red zone when he eventually leaves. And you need playmakers in the NFL nowadays. The roster is okay. I think it's definitely reasonable enough to mock them a receiver here. There's nothing that, maybe Trip McDuffie I like a lot. But none of the corners are there. Kyle Hamilton's not there. I don't see them going interior defensive line or offensive line. I think it's probably a corner. That's what they want. I could also see this being a prime trade down spot for them. But just if this is where it is, I think they trade down from 12 and let a wide receiver needy team, come get whoever they view as their wide receiver 1. But for now, they're staying pat at 12 and taking a receiver. Now you can talk about the Texans.
Well, especially too with the Vikings giving their need at corner. I'm assuming if this is how the board plays out, they're going to be so bummed to see
Yeah.
Sauce and Eric Stingley go with the 2 picks right before them. I'm back on the clock though with the Texans. Definitely need for wide receiver. And I know this isn't their biggest need, but I'm actually going to go with Jordan Davis again with Nick Caserio. There's that connection with the New England Patriots because he was there for so long. They'd love a guy like Jordan Davis that can just eat up blocks in the middle of the defensive line. From Georgia, there's again that great connection there. So I think this is one of the first landing spots we could realistically see Jordan Davis go.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed because I think Jordan Davis is. I think he's probably going 14 to here to Baltimore. In my opinion, I think unless he doesn't get there, I think the Texans definitely make a lot of sense at 13. The Ravens are now in a weird spot. I just think it's a little early for some of the interior offensive linemen. I think it's a little early, obviously, for a guy like Trevor Penning. I think it's way too early for a guy like Devontae Wyatt. I'm just gonna go ahead and give him Trip McDuffie. They need a corner. They need some secondary help in general. And Trip McDuffie can play literally anywhere in the secondary. He can be a good safety. He can be a great slot corner. He can even play some outside. He can just do it all. And I don't think the Ravens care about him being a little smaller. He's a good football player, and nobody's going to turn down good football players. And when you play in a division with some of the receivers that the Ravens do, I think adding corner depth is never a bad option.
So here with the Eagles, Jameson Williams is going to go high in this draft. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the first wide receiver off the board.
If Sauce wasn't there at 10, I would have took him at 10 to the Jets. But
I would agree. I think the Jets love Jameson Williams. They love the idea of that getting that field stretcher. I see. I'm going to mock the Eagles here with Jameson Williams because again, I think he's going to go pretty high in this draft. He's rehabbing extremely well from that injury. People love the game-breaking speed. They love the upside with him as a yak guy. Route running is still unpolished, but there's a lot of upside there. And they go with another Alabama wide receiver in the first round, and this is also their third draft in a row going wide receiver. I could even see Jameson Williams going 16 to the Saints, but obviously he's not on the board, so I'm intrigued to hear who you take here.
Yeah, to touch on the wide receivers in general before this pick in general, they can go so high. Like, there's people mocking Garrett Wilson, these guys 4th overall to the Jets. People even like moving up for these receivers. I think Jameson Williams is probably gone by 15. I think there's a chance they go a lot higher than a lot of people just think in general because they just need him. I think the Jets, like I said, if Sauce wasn't there at 10, the Jets receiver at 10 probably gonna happen. But I don't think they would turn down Sauce. And I think if we were doing some trades here, I could see them moving down a pick or two with Washington. So Washington can or the Vikings. The Vikings can go get their corner one, and then the Jets can trade down and get another receiver. Just a small little move, kind of just everybody gets what they wanted kind of out of it instead of kind of messing things up for everybody else is what it seems like. But here at 16, it's just going to be a continue run on the wide receiver position. Garrett Wilson, the Saints need one. They're not going to let him potentially go to the Chargers or anybody in between them. They need one. They like their Ohio State players in general. They like their Ohio State wide receivers in general. They need a wide receiver so bad. I know Jarvis Landry is visiting there or visited, but that doesn't stop you anyway. You could still sign him and be just fine. Garrett Wilson at 16, this is probably the lowest I can really see him going. I don't see him going much lower, I don't think.
Yeah, the wide receiver, I feel like and it's realistic. Like, there's so many different scenarios the draft could go, but this is one of them where the wide receivers go later than maybe consensus would believe.
Because I don't think Atlanta will take one at 8. Their roster's too bad.
Garrett Wilson is the one guy that I could, because they love.
They definitely could.
And I could see it. Calvin Ridley's gone for a year. When he comes back, what is he? He's almost 30 years old at that. Even want to be on the roster anymore. Like, right now, their receiving core stops after Kyle Pitts. That's it. But there's so many needs on that roster that is just a clear best player available. But I could see them having Garrett Wilson extremely high. Take him at 8.
Yeah. So maybe they'll go a little earlier, but they don't here.
Chargers this is one where I kind of maybe think the first linebacker goes off the board. Maybe we should be reaching a bit lower on this predictive board because I feel like we've shaken it up a little bit. But
we have.
there's got to be some guy that's projected second round pick that goes soon. But here I'm going to go with Devin Lloyd. I just believe that there is a big hole. As a fact, I know there's a big hole on that roster when it comes to linebacker.
Yeah.
They've been plugged. They got J.C. Jackson. They got Corey Linsley. They got all these different, guys to help them on the offensive line, secondary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But linebacker remains a huge need. They can have anyone that they want because no other linebackers off the board. So they'll take their linebacker one in Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that too often in general, but it makes a lot of sense. I think especially with the way this board fell. I could see them drafting Trevor Penning just cause I don't really like him there at 17. I think it's too early.
No. I don't like Trevor Penning.
Me neither, but he'll probably go. I could see him going 19 at the Saints here. I need a tackle really bad. I know we're on, who are we on now? The Eagles. This is weird too, man. We give them the receivers. The corners are kind of off the board. So I could see them kind of going Devontae Wyatt route. I'm not the biggest Devontae Wyatt person in the world. So old. 24. Just, I don't know. This one's weird. You can argue the interior offensive line. You can reach for a corner. I'm kind of liking Dax Hill a little bit there.
Sure, yeah. Get a guy in the secondary.
I don't know. Who are you thinking? Like, who would be some guys here that you like for the Eagles?
Well, again, there's so many different needs.
Ooh, George Karlaftis.
I think Karlaftis is going to fall outside the top 20 at the very least, though.
I do too, usually, but this board is weird for them.
It is weird, and they need edge too, but they also need corner, and then there's Daxton Hill who can kind of play all over the secondary. So, I'd lean like an Andrew Booth here. Like if I had to make a prediction, I could see that, but there are a lot of different routes they could go with.
Let's switch it up and go Dax Hill a little bit. I know they were kind of in on the maybe they still are, the Tyrann Mathieu market a little bit. He's definitely got some similarities to him. He can play some safety. He's a really good slot corner. You can kind of just do a lot of things with him. Kind of kills two birds with one stone there. And just with the way the board fell, I think it makes a lot of sense for them. They could definitely go more a traditional corner, but just kind of, plugging in the fact that they like Tyrann Mathieu. It's a position in need. He is that versatile piece just like him. Maybe kind of entices them to do, kind of get a player similar to him there at 18. Weird one, but it is what it is. Saints, who we got?
I'll take Trevor Penning. And again, I hate the pick. I don't think Trevor Penning close to a first-round prospect.
Yeah.
But we've seen the Saints have a lot of success with some different offensive linemen. They even took Cesar Ruiz late in the first round 2 years ago. I believe they look at Trevor Penning. You obviously just lost Teron Armstead. They look at him as a developmental player, but somebody that they can easily get the best out of. Again, I don't agree with the selection, but from the Saints' perspective, maybe they feel like that's a pick they can knock that out of the park if he hits his upside.
Yeah, it's just such a big position in need, and like the roster is not bad. So like if you didn't go Penning, I don't really know what direction they'd really go after already taking a receiver. Could be a trade down, which would be weird considering they kind of traded for it. I don't know. Maybe they just go best player, whoever they view it. They could also maybe take a quarterback. They could. I don't know. But I'm gonna take a QB here at 20, and it's a little bit weird. I don't know how Pittsburgh fans would feel about it, but I love Desmond Ridder there to Pittsburgh. I know they'd probably want Kenny Pickett there, just Pittsburgh connection, but I think Desmond Ridder's just better. It seems like Pittsburgh likes him a lot.
Yeah.
They don't with the Kenny Pickett love, it just kind of feels forced. So like, they gave it the time, they gave it the respect, but like I don't see them being that high on him, to be honest. I think Desmond Ridder is their guy outside of Malik Willis, and they don't have to move up for him. You stay pat here at 20. Boom. Desmond Ridder's your guy. See how it goes. I don't know. It's a weird one, though. If they don't go QB, it's a little shaky for me.
Yeah, I don't know where. And the thing is, though, they have multiple needs. They desperately need help on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. You could their offensive line is bad. It still is bad.
It's just they've spent money on the interior, and there's no good tackles. So
who's the tackle signed this offseason? It was a massive overpay.
Yeah.
from the Bears. I can't even put
They
my
signed Mason Cole. He's a center. He played him a lot. They signed
ugh.
oh my God,
Tackle. You know what I'm saying?
James
Whatever.
Daniels. James Daniels.
That was a good pickup. That was their
Yeah, I
good
like
pickup.
that one.
Interior, but they signed a tackle, or no, sorry, they extended a tackle. James
Yeah,
Daniels,
Chuma Okorafor or whatever his name is.
they extended him, bad extension, but whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on the Steelers.
Yeah.
I want to get my Patriots pick in here. More needs than you'd think for New England, honestly. But I'm going to go with Zion Johnson. I love Zion Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be really happy with this pick. They need help on the offensive line. He lost Ted Karras, Trent Brown, Isaiah Wynn. Those are guys on expiring deals. So you go get Zion Johnson. You got the connection from BC. I know they had a lot of scouts go to that Boston College Pro Day, so I could definitely see them going Zion Johnson at 20.
Yeah, that'll be Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green. I don't think there's really too much else in the discussion. Maybe a linebacker, but they just need an offensive lineman.
Linebacker. There, yeah.
Yeah, they just need one. Nothing really to elaborate here. Chris Olave, man, they need a receiver. I think he's the if the Packers could choose a realistic guy that'd be there, I think it'd be Chris Olave. Because none of the other top guys, I don't think will be there. Because there's a chance Chris Olave is not there. But I think like with this range, he's definitely the one they want to be there. Maybe Treylon Burks, but I think Chris Olave is just route running, deep threat ability, kind of plays perfectly with what they're trying to replace in Devontae Adams, and kind of works with Aaron Rodgers a little bit.
So for the Cardinals here at 23, I'm going to go ahead and take Kyer Elam. I know he regressed a bit in 2021, but tape looked really good 2020, 2019. You see the press man skills. He was playing through a bit of an injury. It's kind of similar to J.C. Horn last year, where you're going to have to kind of get over the hump with the penalties and holding and being, and all those types of things, I guess you could say. I didn't want to make it sound like you don't want him to be a press man guy, because that's what he is, but you do need to clean that thing up in a sense. But they have a big need at corner, and I think some teams really do like Kyer Elam, because everybody's looking for a press corner nowadays, and he can certainly fit that mold.
Absolutely. I think it's fine. They need a corner so bad. It was kind of, for them, it would have been between him or George Karlaftis for me, who I'm taking here at 24. The Cowboys need some edge help, period. And it's just, a lot of these picks have made a lot of sense for me. They kind of just fell right to where a lot of these teams, I think, how they want to go. Arnold Ebiketie is a guy I kind of considered here as well for 24. I think he's more of a pure pass rusher than George Karlaftis is, so I could see them taking that route, a little more athletic. But George Karlaftis just provides a super high floor, a little more versatile. You could, bulk him up, move him inside, give him more of that versatility as well. But George Karlaftis is just a super high floor player there to kind of, they have a lot of exciting, versatile pieces on that defense already, obviously, in Micah Parsons. So I think he's just you're really super solid guy you want to pair him with, instead of taking a little bit of a double risk there. 25 with the Bills.
So I can't see Tyler Linderbaum falling outside of the first round. I just can't. I know positional value, and we can say all these things, whatever. Linderbaum is going in the first round. I feel pretty confident about it because he just looks so good. I know he's a bit light. I get it, but he's awesome at playing the center position. And I also know they just re-signed Mitch Morse this past offseason, but you can still upgrade at that position. Mitch Morse did not look that good to me last year in the games that I watched him play. And again, this is awesome value at 25. I think you're getting a home run, top 10 prospect, in my opinion, with Tyler Linderbaum.
I think if my ideal prospect for the Bills is probably Daxton Hill. I think he's a phenomenal fit for there at 25, but he went early in ours. I think Tyler Linderbaum's a great replacement there. Not even a replacement. I don't know. Tyler Linderbaum's so weird. I can see him falling out of the first, but then again, it's hard to see some of these teams. The Bills, the Bucks, the Bengals, the Titans, even a little bit. Even the Cowboys and Cardinals could use a guy like that. I know they have center already, but if he puts on 10 pounds and plays well with it, he can be an amazing guard. So I think he'll probably go in the first. But
if Mitch Morse is your center for the first year, you want to kick Mitch Morse somewhere. I don't even mind kicking Mitch Morse to the curb and having him be that sixth offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I don't put those words in Logan's mouth. That is my words. I don't, in case Logan harshly disagrees with that, but no. I really see it with Mitch Morse last year, and that's awesome value at 25.
He feels like a Bills pick. They're kind of just taking a little bit of a falling star, and they have such a good roster already. I I think for me, if I was the Bills, I'd like Dax Till just because they need some secondary help. Andrew Booth would also be tough to pass because they need a corner so bad. But Tyler Linderbaum is a Bill. He feels like a Bill. It's a Bills pick. Definitely don't hate it. And I think the Titans kind of play into that. I think Kenyon Green's a perfect fit for them. If Kenyon, because I know we've kind of done this a little bit. We have a little bit of an interesting draft going on here. But if Kenyon Green isn't here at 26th, I don't know if they'll go with a receiver. I'm going to give another name to watch out for. Tyler Smith to the Titans feels so right to me. But Kenyon Green's here, and he's ranked higher to me. Kind of similar players in a way that they're multi-positional, a lot of value, a lot of versatility. Kenyon Green here at 26 at Titans. But if he's not, draft day, Tyler Smith to the Titans feels like a really, really good match for me.
Would you mind just scrolling down a little bit here? Because this is definitely the range where you're going to see a projected surefire, basically second-round guy end up leaping into the first round.
You can look at positions or anything, too.
Obviously, thank you. The Buccaneers are a team where they don't really have a ton of needs, but we've seen them before. They like to jump ahead of the curve at positions. They even drafted Kyle Trask in anticipation in case of Tom Brady retiring. I don't know, though. I mean, cornerback is definitely a need. I'm going to get a little bold here. I don't know. I think the league likes Andrew Booth, and I like Andrew Booth too. But give me Kyler Gordon sneaking into the first round. A second Washington DB to go along with Trent McDuffie. Kyler Gordon's obviously extremely athletic. He can play on the outside. They need help at cornerback. I know they just re-signed, what's his face? Carlton Davis, thank you.
Yep.
There's a lot of players we're dealing with right now. I'm trying to bounce up next to you. So I appreciate that, Logan.
Yeah.
But there's still a need at cornerback on that roster. You could still see them want to get ahead of the curve at their cornerback 2 slot. And I think Gordon could easily sneak into the first round.
Yeah, I'm a big Kyler Gordon guy, so I don't hate it. And then, I mean, they have Winfield and Carlton Davis. Those are the only secondary players on the roster for next year. Like you said. Yeah, just getting a little bit ahead of the curve. I really think they would consider Devontae Wyatt heavily. They need some interior help with, Ndamukong Suh hasn't re-signed yet. I think Logan Hall makes a ton of sense too.
Okay.
Even interior offensive linemen, they're still kind of missing that one piece. But with this, I don't think they'd reach. I think they'd want a Kenyon Green. If Tyler Linderbaum was there, I could see them taking a flyer on him because you'd probably have to move him from center. But Kyler Gordon at 27, I love that. I like that a lot. 28 with the Packers is a little interesting to me. You got your receiver.
Could they double down? I think, honestly, though I've heard a lot of people say the Packers will double down. It's possible, but I would honestly say there's a greater chance they draft no wide receiver in the first round than they double down.
I agree.
Bold take, I know, but I still think there's a possibility the Packers don't even take a receiver in the first round.
I completely agree.
And instead they do.
I agree. I could not agree more. This one's weird. I think Nakobe Dean kind of feels like a Packer in a way. Boya Mafe. It's honestly for me, Boya Mafe, or even it wouldn't surprise me if they took David Ajabo either. Drafting for the future a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me if Ajabo slips in there, but let's just go Boya Mafe, another rotational pass rusher. They got a good roster already. I don't see them double dipping at receiver. I think this other one will be kind of somebody they view who can make an impact right away. So maybe I should have went with Arnold Ebiketie a little bit. I think he's a little more ready in my opinion. I think Arnold Ebiketie will be a first round player come draft night. I don't know if he will fall to that in our mock a little bit here. It's a little weird. But I think they'll have an impact defensive player at 28 paired, or even the other way around. If there's a receiver or an impact defensive guy they like at 22 and decide to wait to 28 for a receiver, knowing at the worst they can get a guy like Treylon Burks who's here still, even a George Pickens, Watson, Dotson at the worst. Wouldn't surprise me either.
So for the Chiefs, we've heard a lot of rumors they could trade up. Everybody loves linking Jameson Williams to the Chiefs. I remember as soon as Tyreek Hill got traded, I sent out a tweet saying, you're going to hear a lot of Jameson Williams to the Chiefs. You already know. The speed guy fills the Tyreek Hill role. Nobody is actually going to fill all of Tyreek Hill's shoes. But it's very likely they address wide receiver, whether they trade up or, like here, they stay pat at 29 and 30. I think there's a very good chance, very, very good chance, Treylon Burks falls outside of the first round. As a matter of fact, I would bet that right now. If you ask me what round Treylon Burks go, I would say it was not the first. I'd say probably the second round is where he falls. I don't see Burks being a first round guy, but there's still a couple possible landing spots. Maybe the Eagles, they've got 2 picks. If he falls to 29 and the Chiefs stay pat at 29 and 30, I could see the Chiefs taking Treylon Burks.
I wouldn't even be surprised Lions at 32. Wouldn't shock me either.
So that, and then you're on the clock at 30 with the Chiefs. So is this a double dip situation, or are you going defense?
Oh, who'd you go with at 29? Did you give me a pick?
Treylon Burks.
Okay. Yeah, I think... No, I'm definitely not double dipping. They need an impact. I wouldn't be... I think people aren't really considering the fact that they might not draft a receiver at all with these picks. Their defense is terrible. I think they probably will. I think especially if a guy like Treylon Burks is there, they will. But outside of, I don't see them taking George Pickens, Watson, Dotson, any of those guys. I think Treylon Burks is the last receiver that they would take. Obviously, if Olave is there, it's a home run, and any receiver picked before him. But it wouldn't. I think there's a good chance they double down here and take defense. I think if Treylon Burks there, like I said, makes a lot of sense. I would do that as well. Here at 30 is... I'm going to give a little bit of another little, not even a big surprise to me. Where is my guy? Let me scroll. What did I miss him? Logan Hall to the Chiefs at 30. Makes all the sense in the world to me. He can come in, he can play edge, he can play nose tackle, he can play 3-tech, he can do everything. He can come in right away and be a physical freak. I think he's a good complement to what they have there on the offensive line already. You have Frank Clark, who's whatever. You have Chris Jones. He can do a lot, and they need somebody to come in right away and still provide that high upside because their window probably got pushed back a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a guy like Devontae Wyatt here. I mentioned Arnold Ebiketie a lot, but I think Logan Hall's upside and just a need of a game record defensively right away makes a lot of sense for the Chiefs there at 30.
Yeah, the Chiefs are going to be so interesting because if they do stay pat, I could even see them reaching for a John Mechie at wide receiver. I just need to throw that out there. John Mechie is going to go a lot higher than some people believe. I've seen him mocked in the 3rd round, 4th round. He is going in the 2nd round.
I agree.
Maybe even a chance he sneaks in the 1st. And I know that sounds absolutely wild. That is a hot take. But I would not be shocked if we saw the Chiefs fall in love with Alabama receiver John Mechie. But 31, I want to get your input on this one a little bit, Logan, because I know you're a Bengals fan. I think I know kind of where a couple spots I'd lean here, but since you're a Bengals fan, I want to give you the opportunity to have a say here.
The difficult part is just, I don't know, Devontae Wyatt's here. That position is a massive need for us, but I don't think the Bengals will take a 24-year-old in the 1st round. I think they like Logan Hall a lot. I think they would draft Perion Winfrey over Devontae Wyatt. But that's the only interior player they'd consider. And then obviously Andrew Booth is pretty screaming at me here at 31. That makes a lot of sense. Some of the safeties, a lot of people like too. Some of these versatile guys, like Lewis Sean's good, but I don't think he fits the Bengals necessarily. I think Jaquan Brisker and Petrie do more. I wouldn't take them at 31. If this is the way the board fell at 31, I think I'd be upset if it wasn't Andrew Booth or Perion Winfrey, if I'm being honest. One of those two guys would make me pretty happy.
I mean, we have seen the Bengals before move 0-tech defensive linemen who struggled in that role to 3-tech and then watched them thrive before. We've seen it. They would be doing the same thing with Perion Winfrey. I mean, it's pretty clear Winfrey's much better as a 3-tech. He played 0-tech when he was at Oklahoma, played on the nose, and I could see that. Again, for me, you said Booth and Winfrey. Those were the two guys that I was considering. Booth is just too much value here, but actually I'm going to go with Perion Winfrey.
I like it. I do. I mean, it's different. I think that they might value that a little better. They seem to like Eli Apple a lot. And just the depth at corners a little better in this second than I think in the interior. I think their possibility, because the Bengals, they have solid corners. They have Mike Hilton, slot guy, obviously. They have Cheeto. He's an outside guy. And then they have Eli Apple. So they kind of need depth. So it wouldn't surprise me if they took a defensive lineman at 31. maybe you go corner round 2, but I think if they don't go corner round 1, they'll probably double dip in rounds 2 through 5. They'll draft 2 in that range, which make a lot of sense. They did it a couple years ago with linebacker with Logan Wilson and Akeem Davis-Gaither, and we see how that worked. So I think that's definitely a possibility they could go with because they need depth too. So that makes a lot of sense. But 32, this one's weird. I love Devontae Wyatt here a little bit, but they don't really need him. I don't know if Devontae Wyatt's gonna be a first round pick. I just don't. Kenny Pickett this late, I still don't like, but I don't think he really moves the needle for Detroit. I did it in my most recent mock. Aidan Hutchinson at 2, David Ajabo at 32. Reuniting them is really fun. It's a little bit more of a projection, but it's Andrew Booth too. The Lions have to be very happy with this group of players here, and I just can't tell because they pick again shortly after. So it's just what pick do they think will go in between them? And I think I really don't know. Who are some guys you like here, bro? Because I like Jahan Dotson. I think Booth's just tremendous value here. Lewis Cine even makes a ton of sense. Jacoby Dean.
Well, that's the thing. Right now their offensive line's solid. If they aren't impressed with this quarterback class, you go ahead, pass up on that. Granted, it is enticing at 32. If you like one of these guys, you snag that 5th-year option just barely at pick 32. So offensively, I feel like if they don't like a quarterback, it's only maybe wide receiver. And then after that, you're thinking maybe linebacker with the Jacoby Dean. Maybe you're thinking corner with an Andrew Booth. At this point, I really don't know what other corner they'd take besides Andrew Booth. I'd even be surprised if they take another linebacker outside of Jacoby Dean. Maybe a Quay Walker. Maybe a Christian Harris. I doubt Christian Harris goes first round, though. Yeah. It's up to you. I mean, there's a lot.
I think I talked myself into Jaquan Brisker here. I like it because he kind of kills your 2 birds with 1 stone again with the safety, the corner kind of vibe. And he can just do a little bit. They need a lot of talent on that team, and he can kind of do a lot of things for you. And I think when you're a team like the Lions, you kind of are looking for as many people that can provide you multiple things at once, and I think he does. He does just that. Is there any other draft takes you want to get off your head that you might not have been able to sneak in here during this that you want to get out before the draft is live here on Thursday?
No, this is gonna be a busy week with the draft, so I don't have too much more to say on this mock. I will say the one pick I didn't really mention and touch up on that you made was the Trent McDuffie pick at 15. I really did like that. The Ravens, obviously, their cornerback room was all banged up last year. McDuffie does have sub 30-inch arms. I get it. But other than that, it's hard to find any flaws on his resume. I love McDuffie. I liked that pick a lot, even though I didn't touch up on it. But we're going to have the War Room show on Wednesday and Thursday night. I'm going to be on the Game Changers tomorrow night. It's Monday night. There's going to be just a ton of draft content here at the Right Way Sports Network, whether it's on YouTube. I'm going to be tweeting stuff on Twitter. There's going to be it's going to be a lot of draft discussion over the coming weeks.
Absolutely. And Tuesday night on the TWSN show, we'll have a mock draft. Are you guys doing one tomorrow?
I don't.
They'll talk about the draft one way or the other. There'll be a lot of draft content this week. Just literally follow along on any TWSN social media account, and there'll be pretty much draft content exclusively for the next 4 days. Pretty much until it's over, and then after, we'll bust out the team grades, whatnot, do some videos here on the YouTube channel as well. That's going to kind of wrap up this version of our mock draft with our special guest. Like I said, draft content everywhere. Don't miss it. Don't miss the next NFL draft grades. We'll probably have another mock. We'll do another couple mocks before we head out of here before Thursday night. Like I said, we'll have a lot of draft grade videos. Maybe Aidan will join me again for those. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the TWSN YouTube channel soon. Thanks for watching.